Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In our last lesson, we were talking about our protectionism policy of the government. Keep it in mind, this is also called expenditure switching policy, in which government is causing switching of consumers' expenditures from imported goods towards domestically produced goods. Whenever government wants to reduce its balance of payment deficit, so government is using expenditure switching policies or protectionism in order to switch the consumers' expenditures from imported goods towards domestically produced items. Now, last time we were talking about different tools of protectionism like tariff, quota, embargo, exchange rate control, export subsidies, VER, voluntary export restraints, and administrative barriers. So exchange rate controls, they were all used in order to reduce the imports of the country, because government wants to reduce its import penetration. So what are the reasons that they were the tools of protectionism? Now the question is, why government wants to have protectionism? Why is the government not interested for a free trade? Free trade means like trade is taking place without any trade barrier. Trade barriers mean quota, tariff, whatever the tools were used in order to restrict the trading activities. So when government is not interested in free trade, so that's why it is using the protectionism policy or expenditure switching policy to protect its domestic market from international competition. This is the main reason behind, because government is not interested to have free trade, because whenever there is going to be more free trade, in the short run it will be benefiting the consumers and market, because due to less price imported goods, the cost of living of the consumers will be decreasing. People will be very happy in the short run that their cost of living has gone down because of less priced imported goods. But in future, what is going to happen? These goods will be taking the place of the domestically produced goods, and in that case, what is going to happen? Our domestic market will be shrinking down and our industry will be closing down, and due to that more expensive goods will be purchased, because now the imported goods, they have created their own demand in the market, and now they will be setting their own prices because the domestic competitors, they have been removed. And now in the long run, even the household consumers, they will be enforced to buy expensive imported goods because of no protectionism. So government is using protectionism in order to the first reason, to correct balance of payment deficit, like if a country is facing its payments more than its international receipts, then it owes more money to the foreigners. So in that case, it needs to borrow more foreign loans. So when national debt is increasing in foreign currency, that will make its internal problems as well. Like less funds will be available for other macroeconomic development expenditures. So government wants to reduce its balance of payment deficit. Deficit arises because international payments, they are greater than international receipts of the country. Whatever the money is received by exporting the goods or by attracting the foreign direct investment, that is lower than its international payments. So in that case, balance of payment deficit is arising, and this can be one of the reasons exports are lower than their imports. imports are increasing and exports are declining. So this is causing balance of trade deficit. So first of all, government wants to reduce this import and wants to increase the exports in order to reduce the gap between the international receipts and payments. That payment should be lower and receipts should be increasing. So government is using this protectionism method. Government is using tariff, quota and embargo to correct its balance of payment disequilibrium, which is arising in the form of deficit over the period of time. If it is for 1 year, this is not a problem, but if it is continuously rising, then definitely government will be trying to reduce its deficit by increasing the exports and decreasing the imports by using the protectionism tools of tariff, quota and embargo. Now the second reason of protectionism, why government is not allowing the free trade and it is protecting its domestic market. So second reason is to protect domestic industry. Domestic industry. So there can be infant industry which is newly started and it is also given a name sunrise industry. Sunrise, that it is just started and at the start of its production, if it is faced with international competition within the domestic market, so what is going to happen with that industry? It will be facing a problem of growth. It will not be able to enjoy its economies of scale within a very short period of time. Economies of scale means what? When its average cost in the long run is going to decrease. So at the start, this industry is producing less output, therefore its average cost is higher than any other industry. So if it is not given a specific time period to reach to the scale of production where per unit cost of production will be minimized and it is facing international competition within the domestic market, it will not be able to grow in the long run. So in order to protect our infant industry, which is within our domestic industry, so government is using protectionism or government is using tariff, quota and embargo tools in order to protect this domestic industry, and domestic producers, they will be given incentive to grow and they will be able to reduce their per unit cost of production in order to have more profitability in the future. Second type of industry is called declining industry. Declining industry or sunset industry. Now if already an industry is declining, we are facing that imports are taking the place of our domestically produced items, and our domestic industry is already on the decline and it is also facing international competition within the domestic market, so it will further decline. So in order to protect that declining industry, government is again using protectionism, tariff, quota and embargo in order to protect this declining industry. So when government is protecting declining industry or infant industry, its main aim is to protect employment. Employment means when these industries are already declining or they are sunrising industries and they are also facing international competition within their domestic market, that they are not protected. So in that case, what is going to happen, if these industries are closing down, they have their shutdowns, then definitely the workers who are employed in these industries will get unemployed. Their jobs will be at risk because the goods which they were used to produce, they are not demanded in the market, and you all know the labor demand is indirect or direct demand. When imported goods are taking the places of our domestically produced items, so our goods demand has gone down, therefore labor demand will also be declining in the industry. and unemployment will be prevailing, which is another macroeconomic problem of the country. So in order to protect employment, government is using this protectionism or using the protectionism tools in order to protect the domestic industry, in order to protect their employment opportunities. Now, come towards the fourth argument of this protectionism, that is to discourage dumping. To discourage dumping. What do you mean by dumping? When we are facing international competition within our domestic market, what is actually happening? The foreign firms, they are increasing the supply of their goods to our market, and they are storing, they are having the stocks of their goods in our domestic market. And later on, what is going to happen? They sell the product at a price which is lower than the average cost of our domestic producers. For example, this board marker is produced at 20 rupees per unit cost within our domestic market. Its per unit cost is 20 rupees. Therefore, the local firms, they are selling it to the domestic buyers at price 30 or 40 whatsoever. So they are able to earn profit, wholesaler, retailer, everyone is able to earn income out of this when average cost is 20 rupees for this board marker and its domestic price is ranging from 30 to 40 rupees. Now if Chinese board markers, they are sold at less than 20 rupees per marker. So what is going to happen? Our cost of production for this board marker is 20 rupees, and due to dumping of Chinese producers, they have dumped majority of board markers in our market. So as a result, its price, the Chinese board marker or international board marker prices, they are lower than our domestic producers per unit cost of production. And our producer will not be able to compete that producer in our domestic market. So that is the reason behind what we say the producers, they are not, they are trying for international competition, that producers are not going to able to compete in our domestic market. So we see this case of dumping. Government wants to discourage this dumping, so government is using protectionism or protectionist tools in order to discourage dumping. So it happened in England when government's exports, they were dumped into English market and their in UK markets, and their textile industry was severely affected. Now they have adopted anti-dumping rules wherever the imported goods are stocked in the warehouses. Those warehouses which are having the supply of imported goods stock, they are sealed. So government is not allowing the foreigners to dump their products in their domestic markets. So that's why they are using anti-dumping rules, or they are using protectionism to protect their domestic market from international competition. Now the fifth reason which the developed countries buyers, they are arguing that to favor the labor of developing countries. We all know a country is specializing according to comparative advantage. I explained comparative advantage theory in my previous lessons. So developed countries, like the rich countries, they say we are not going to buy from the developing countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. The reasons behind these countries, the developing countries, they are not paying international wages to their workers. The workers in Pakistan, in India and Pakistan, they are paid very lower wages than international standards. So in favor of in favor of the workforce of developing countries. They do not want to buy from these countries. So their argument is that if they are not buying the imported goods from developing countries, so actually they are favoring the labor force of these poor countries, that they in favor of these workers because they are not paid international wages according to international standards. So the developed countries, they are restricting the imports from these poor countries. So actually this is not the favor, because it is our comparative and competitive advantage that our workers are working at lower wages and our per unit cost of production is lower than the developed countries. This is our comparative advantage. So if developed countries, rich countries, they are not buying from the poor countries, so this is not they are going to make a favor to the workers. In that case, the workers of developing countries, they will become unemployed, which is a more severe problem than you are favoring them in case of higher wages. If our workers, they are agreed upon at a certain wage rate and they are employed as well, so due to non-buying of imports from developing and poor countries, the rich countries, they are not actually favoring the labor, but they are disfavoring, because otherwise these workers will become unemployed and unemployment will create poverty in the country. So these are the reasons why a country is going to favor protectionism. Countries are using the protectionist tools in order to protect their domestic market from international competition. Now come towards the other points, which are, these are the favorable points when we see countries using the protectionism tool. Now, when we restrict the free trade, when we use tariff quota and embargo, so government is restricting the free trade. When free trade is restricted, consumer choice will decrease. Consumer choice will decrease. So basically, consumer choice is declining. Consumers are not having the variety of goods when we are restricting the free trade and we are using protectionism. So less variety will be available and living standards can decline for the consumers. Okay. So protectionism is reducing the consumer choice, and when less of the goods are available to the consumers due to quota and tariff, their prices will also be increasing, and due to increase in the prices, their living standard will also be falling. They are forced to buy the domestic goods. So variety of goods will less variety of goods will be available. They want to buy imported goods, but because of more tariff and quota, they are unable to buy. The second thing, that is declining living standard. Declining living standard due to more protectionism. Okay. The third reason, that is called, when a country is going to use protectionism to restrict the imports from other countries. So our imports, they are the exports of other countries. So there can be retaliation. Retaliation policies by the other countries as well, by trade partners. Sometimes we are restricting the imports or the exports of other country because they have also banned our exports, which are their imports. So in retaliation, we are using protectionism, or sometimes we impose protectionism because other country has also adopted the same policy for us. So we will be trying through retaliation that they should uplift their protectionism from our goods, that our goods should also be moving towards their market, and we are adopting protectionism in retaliation of the developed countries that Germany should uplift export quota from our textile items. That's why we are not allowing their cars to enter into our market like BMW car or Mercedes. So retaliation works in two ways, like other country that has imposed protectionism on our goods, and we are in retaliation, we are also using the same policy. Or we want other country to uplift the tariff and quota from our exports, which are their imports. That's why we are using it, that if they are in retaliation, they are also facing the same policy from our government, so they will again be uplifting their protectionism or the tariff quota from our exports, then definitely we will be able to export more goods and services. So keep it in mind, the producers, they are benefited due to protectionism. Our domestic market will be growing, it will be expanding, because protectionism is favoring the domestic producers to expand. As imported goods, they have become more expensive in terms of local currency, so they are given a chance, the domestic producers are given a chance to expand again, because now the policies, they are in their favor. The imports are not coming freely without any tariff and quota, so producers can be expanding, they can reduce their per unit cost of production. So protectionism, basically there can be question in your final exam, discuss whether protectionism can ever be justified. So for justification, you have to write the reasons why our country is using the protectionism. One more thing, when protectionism is adopted, comparative advantage of a country will be converted into comparative disadvantage, will be converted into comparative disadvantage. So specialization, the benefits of national specialization cannot be enjoyed when we are having more protectionism adopted by all the countries on international trade. So these would be the reasons. You can write whether protectionism can ever be justified. So if you want to protect our domestic market from international competition, there could be the reasons of protectionism, but these things can also take place when we are using protectionist tools in order to safeguard our domestic industry and employment. But these could also be happening along with that. So at the end, you have to write the conclusion. You have to give your own evaluation of your lesson plan, that why government is using protectionism. Will it be in favor of our market, or it is going to disfavor in the form of retaliation by the other countries? So we can write a good essay on that. Okay, now because of this protectionism, we can move towards the trading blocks. Basically, the trading blocks. The countries, they are joining with each other, they are grouping with each other in order to enjoy the benefits of free trade without protectionism. Like when they are protecting their domestic market, less trading activities are created and unemployment can be the result due to less trade. So countries, they have adopted a policy of trading blocks, like they make the member countries free from these protectionism, and the member countries, they are trading with each other without any trade barriers. So we find the free trade in the trading blocks. There can be three types of trading block. One is called free trade area, FTA, and second is called customs union. Okay. Third is called economic union. So free trade area is that in which member countries they are trading with each other without any trade barriers. They are having the free trade without protectionism. But with the non-member countries, they are going to have separate external policy. The most famous free trade area is NAFTA, North American Free Trade Area. In North American Free Trade Area, we have three countries: USA, Canada, and Mexico. USA, Canada, and Mexico. Like when these countries are trading with each other, they don't have any type of tariff, quota, and embargo. But when US is trading with non-member, other than these three countries, when the USA is going to trade with Pakistan, Germany, France, any of the non-member, it is having separate external policy than the member countries. Like USA is having tariff of 6% on European products, and Canada is having 5%, Mexico may have 8%. So their external policy with the non-members, that is going to be a separate one, it is not a common one. They have integrated their own markets and they are not going to have integration in their foreign policies with the non-members. And in the case of customs union, we find that as the member countries, they are trading freely without any trade barrier, but at the same time they have common external policy with the non-members. So Mercosur is the customs union of South African Customs Union. South African Customs Union, where the countries of South Africa, they are grouping with each other to enjoy the free trade, and they have common external policy with the non-members. Like if one country is imposing a tariff of 10% with the non-member trade, so all other countries will have the same tariff rate with that country. So the customs union, they have common external policy with the non-members, and in case of free trade area, external policy was not common, it was having a separate external policy. Mercosur can be one of the example of free trade area. Now economic union, this is the final form of economic integration, or we find over here the economic union in the form of monetary union. They are not only having free trade with the members, free trade among members, common external policy with the non-members, common external policy. And third one, they find that movement of factors of production freely. Like European Union, you can say this is a type of economic union in which a worker from France can work in Germany or in any other European country which is the member country of economic union, and they have also the common currency as well. They have abolished all types of exchange rate problems. So exchange rate problem is also overcome because of the economic union, and this is the monetary union in which they have common monetary policy, and their rate of interest can also be the same one throughout the whole economic union. So the last form of economic union is the trading bloc, that is economic union or monetary union. The best example of monetary union can be European Economic Union or the 13 United States countries when they joined with each other to use dollar as a common currency. In United States, when they joined with each other, so economic union was formed. The oldest economic union was in US. So we find these trading countries, the trading blocs like free trade area, customs union and economic union, they are going to overcome this problem of protectionism. And due to this economic integration or trading blocs, what the two benefits they are going to get? One is trade creation. like the market size due to free trade area, that will be enlarging. If Canada is producing for Canadian market, its market size will be only the population size of Canada. But once it enters into free trade area, its market size will be enlarged through USA, through Mexico. So more market size will be emerging. This is called the trade creation. When we are finding that countries are forming or grouping in the form of free trade area, customs union, or in the form of economic union, we find the first benefit, that is called trade creation. More trading activities will be created among the members. And the second benefit, that is called, this can be disadvantage as well, trade diversion. Trade diversion means what? After making the trading bloc, before the trading bloc, Canada was buying product from Europe, Paraguay, from South American countries, or from India and Pakistan. And due to this trading bloc, the outside trade of the non-member country will be diverted to the member trade. Now it is bound to buy from USA and Mexico. This is called trade diversion. The outside blocking trade will be the outside free trade area trade will be converted or diverted towards the free trade area trade. So diversion of trade from non-member towards member is called diversion. This is also having a disadvantage as well. Like the non-member country that was previously having lower price before this economic integration. Now due to integration, there is more tariff on the non-member country and we are bound to buy from the member country. So although the product which was traded from the non-member country, well, that was more competitive and that was having more quality as well, but due to this trading bloc, the countries, they are bound to buy from the member countries, and if they are still buying from the non-member, then heavy import tariffs or quota will be imposed on that imports from the non-member countries. So trade diversion, trade creation, they are the results of trading blocs. More employment opportunities can be created when there is a more free trade area, and we find this is happening in case of trading blocs. So that's all for today. Tomorrow onward I will be doing terms of trade and balance of payment for you people in order to have your midterm exams, or you can say pre-mock exams, which are coming in the coming months of January 2021 after your winter vacations are over. So do prepare for that exam as well. I will be explaining you balance of payment structure and terms of trade by tomorrow inshallah, and the rest of the thing, exchange rate, that will be left over, we will be doing it in our next class. So exchange rate will also be covered. So that's all for today. Thank you.